Hello and welcome to the Inheritors, the not at all dramatic name for our new series, which looks at interviewing the up-and-coming leaders of the foreign exchange industry. I'm Eva Szalay, a contributing editor to The Full FX, and with me today is Jacob Leighton, FX trader at HSBC. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eva, for having me today.
Thank you for coming in. Can you start us off with a little bit of an intro, please? Tell us about how you got to be an FX trader and what you do as part of your job.
Yeah, sure. So I work at HSBC. I've been working there for nearly 7 years now. I joined off the internship program, and then I did the grad program, and then I joined full-time, actually in rate sales. So I started in sales, and then I moved to trading about 4 years ago. In trading, I've always been in sterts. So I started off trading the Commonwealths, and now I trade sterling and CAD.
And what made you swap to trading from sales? I mean, you've got all those lunches you can have in sales and then all that stress in trading.
Yeah, sure. I think the two jobs require different skill sets. So the way I like to think about it is if you're a salesperson, you have an idea, then you pick up the phone to your client and you discuss that idea and your relationship building. Whereas for a trader, it's more about risk management and kind of the psychology of markets and the psychology of trading, and so different skill sets. And I think for me personally, with trading, the reason why I really like it is, as I said, the psychology of markets. So the fact that you're competing against this kind of collective wisdom of all the other traders and trying to work out where there's a mispricing. I like the fact that you're managing, it's the kind of the psychology of your own emotions. You've got to manage yourself if you have a good day, manage yourself if you have a bad day, the kind of try and be systematic in your trading approach. And then it's also an opportunity to kind of look at economics, politics, geopolitics. Those all combine to help you form your trading view.
So you like being in the center of things, the adrenaline kicking in and all that jazz. How many times have old timers told you, oh, in my day, it was completely different and, we did it so much better? Do you have to listen to a lot of that?
No, I don't think so. I think generally the people I work with are pretty forward thinking and they like to try and innovate and adapt to change. So not really.
And you said you've been working in FX for 7 years. What are the kind of changes you've seen? Has the market changed at all? Is it all the same, the way you trade today as you traded, say, 4 years ago?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I think the main kind of trend, certainly whilst I've been there and probably predating me joining, is this wave of electronification that we've had. And so, the end product of that now is we've got voice trading desks. You have desks where you have quants, and they're kind of designing and structuring algorithmic programs that can be tailored to clients' needs and kind of achieve client best X. And then you have desks where it's a combination of the two. You have voice traders who are complemented by those algorithms as well, all kind of in the name of best X for clients.
Do you trade electronically mostly, overwhelmingly?
So most of the stuff that we quote is electronically, but our space, the FX forward space, is so the space where most of the electronification has happened is in the spot space. That's where you just have you agree a trade. It's an exchange of two cash flows on T+1 or T+2. Whereas in the forward space, if you trade, you have a series of cash flows. On our desk, we quote it out to 3 years. You can get an FX forward out to whatever timeline you want. So it's a slightly different proposition electronifying that, because you have a series of cash flows. So there's no kind of centralized exchange where you can go and recycle that risk. So it's a slightly different proposition. But what we're working on at the moment is our desk is working very closely with our quants to try and transfer some of those tools that we're using in the spot space into the FX forward space. So for example, we're working on trying to do, you can do a lot of pre-trade analysis to try and identify what the best time is to trade by looking at volume profiles and spreads. So we're trying to do that in our space now as well.
I was going to ask if there are any kind of examples that you could give, or if there are any areas that you think the forward space should or may change in the future.
So in addition to that, one thing that we're working on at the moment is we're releasing a new system called, it's a new platform called iMarkets, where we think it's kind of a next gen trading platform for clients to be able to execute on and to do trading analysis and analytics. So in my space, what that means is that clients can access our historical data within a control framework, to then be able to analyze how certain products are performed in historical events, in risk-off events, to see how, in my space specifically, you have turns at quarter end and at year end, how those have behaved, and compare that to today. So yeah, lots of ways that we can adapt that change.
And do you think that there'll be more of the kind of, I mean, do you have to be quite technical as a trader nowadays? You mentioned you work maybe with the algo team, or is it mostly still about that psychology that you mentioned at the beginning? Or do you have to know how to code, for example?
I think it's really great to have a desk where you have a variety of skills. So my background is history, but on our desk we have mathematicians and physicians as well. So I think you generally want a diverse skill set, and then you have a diverse way of thinking.
But it sounds like, for your job, it's not a necessity to be, amazing at rocket science, right? So you can still just sort of stick to the trading side rather than the technology side.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's helpful if you are interested in technology and you want to get involved and work with the quants, because then you can feed off each other. But no, I don't spend my day coding. That's what we have the quants to do that for us.
Okay, and can you tell us about what's interesting at the moment in your market, in your area? What's kind of, when you go back to the office, what will you be focusing on?
In terms of kind of markets?
Could be anything, yeah.
Well, I mean, the way the electronification is happening within the industry, that's creating all these opportunities. So I spend a lot of my time at the moment on calls with clients talking about how we can adapt our kind of technology system to them. So that's one big focus, and it's really about trying to take a task that used to be quite complex and maybe they didn't even have access to the data, and trying to turn that into a very quick, simple process to enhance their kind of trading process and trading analytics. So I mean that's our big focus at the moment is trying to optimize swap execution for clients.
Yep, there's a lot of talk about swap execution. Why isn't it more electronic, do you think?
Well, I think it partially comes down to the nature of the product, in that you have the series of cash flows. So
will that always stay like that, do you think, as a result of it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, at the moment, our focus is on the kind of pre-trade analytics. That I'm sure there will be a greater attention on trying to electronify the trading role. But I think, as a trader, you have to try and work with your tech teams to try and collaborate and make sure that the two kind of tools complement each other.
How difficult is that? And is that a lengthy process?
It's a constantly iterating process. So I guess lengthy in the sense that we're always evolving and constantly evolving. I think difficult, no, because it's all about how closely you can work together and collaborate with your quant teams, and we do a good job of that.
And do you come up against things like, the spot desk wants something, but you guys want something else? Is there a lot of competition internally, or can you tell me a bit about competition externally as well?
Yeah, I think no, there's not. I think we collaborate closely together. I think there's a recognition that the tool that's developed for one team will also have use cases for another team. So we try and work closely on that. In terms of competition externally, I'm not sure what other kind of banks are offering, but we do regular calls with clients, and we're taking them through our tech, and we get good feedback.
Is there anything that clients are asking for that's sort of different that they used to?
In terms of tech or markets generally?
Or anything, yeah. Maybe even market color. Colin loves to talk about market color. This one is for you, Colin. And about how, it's a very different game than it used to be, say, 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think there's a big awareness in my space, of the impact of seasonality. So whether that's intraday, intra-week, intra-month, there are definite patterns that we can see in terms of how people execute their swaps. So there's definitely a push to get a better understanding of that, so that then you can execute more optimally and kind of touch the market less when you do so.
And in terms of the swap space market structure, do you see any kind of immediate changes or sort of anything important or significant in the next 5 years? Do you think it will be an iterative process as it is now, or will there be a big bang kind of change?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we'll continue to iterate as we are. I think the clearly there's a lot of tech development external to kind of what HSBC is doing in terms of AI. I think that's a really interesting space. It's clearly there's going to be a big AI is going to play a big part in our future, but where that takes us, I'm not entirely sure.
Are you worried about AI taking your job?
No, I think it's all about the two roles complementing each other.
AI came up quite a lot during these discussions, and it's interesting that it feels like it's more the kind of, I'm not going to say older, but more experienced people who seem to be a little bit cautious and worried about it. You sound quite comfortable. Do you think it's a good thing for the market?
Yeah, I think technological change is generally makes process more efficient. If it democratizes access to data and allows people to make more informed decisions, then that can only be a good thing.
Which areas do you think AI could play a bigger role in, for example, the swap market?
Well, I think if it's the premise of AI is that you can take large data sets and analyze them, and then there is some self-analysis that goes on as in automatically down the line. So if that process makes understanding swap dynamics or understanding liquidity dynamics much quicker and it self-evolves as well, then that should improve clients' understanding of markets and help them to execute more optimally.
So pre-trade kind of decision making, maybe TCA or any of that. How big is TCA in the swap market?
It's evolving. That's particularly what we're focusing on at the moment.
Yeah.
I know it's been a big factor in the spot market for some time now, and that's where we're trying to evolve by incorporating that into our process.
Is it fair to say that TCA is maybe less advanced in swaps than it is in spot?
Yeah, I mean that's what we're really trying to focus on is taking those lessons that we know and those kind of processes and structures and trying to transfer them over and help our clients use them. Okay.
And do you see a future for yourself in foreign exchange? Do you think that this is a career that you kind of want to stick with? Do you have any kind of other areas maybe within the market that you would be interested in trying?
Sure. No, I think for the reasons we spoke about earlier in terms of the trading aspect I really like. And then I think the amazing thing about foreign exchange is the way you can combine knowledge of economics and politics and geopolitics. As a historian, I think it's a space that allows that skill set to come to good use in the sense of, I think as a historian, what you develop is the ability to read a lot of information, process it, and then kind of present it as a coherent argument. And I think that's useful for FX, given that it's a global market. There's a lot of correlation between different pairs, currency pairs, and they all, there's definitely the ability to take a broad overview rather than focusing on just a specific currency pair is helpful.
And you're doing sterling now, so you said you're doing sterling. Which is your dream currency to trade?
What's my dream currency?
Yeah.
Look, I think given that I live in the UK and that I'm surrounded by the politics of the UK and the economics of the UK, sterling's been exciting enough.
Yeah, has it been pretty volatile? Do you expect, from a market perspective, do you expect the year to kind of continue to be exciting? Is it all about the central bank decisions?
Sure. Look, I mean, obviously we've got the Bank of England on Thursday. It's quite an interesting decision. There doesn't seem to be a lot of consensus about what's going to happen. We know that in the last meeting there was 2 people who voted for a cut, and the rest didn't. And there was some commentary around what could happen afterwards. So I think it should be an interesting one on Thursday. I know our house view is that there won't be a cut until November.
Let's see. I'm sure you're going to be busy on Thursday, and regardless. And finally, is there anything that you could reassure Colin, for example, and the kind of more senior generation that trading is in good hands? You often hear oh, the systems go, if there's an outage, they have no idea what to do. What do you say to that?
Look, I think from the people that I work with and the people that I see around me, I think that everyone is very passionate and they're competent and they want to do what's best by the client.
Would you say you're a short-termist contrarian?
What, in my trading style or my trading strategy? No, I think it's really about trying to take on board as much information as possible, take on board conflicting opinions, absorb that, and then try and come up with my own view and then manifest that within my trading strategy.
Is there anything that you wanted to cover or highlight or, just mention during this interview that we haven't covered? Do you have any future career aspirations that you could share with us?
No, look, I think so. I've recently gained some more seniority, and I think the cool thing about that role is that you get a lot more people management responsibility.
Yeah, so you're director now, right?
Exactly, yeah. So that's really my focus for now, is really trying to develop those skills. I've always been, I found over the last 4 years I've had some really good mentors, and that's been a big help for me. So I want to try and do some mentorship of some people that are coming through, and develop that kind of skill to be able to mentor and to help people progress through their careers.
Sounds like you have plans to stay in foreign exchange.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good place to finish. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for having a conversation with us.
Thanks, Eva.
Thank you.